So hi guys, and welcome back to the channel here for another retro review. Today we're going to be talking about a camera that was introduced in around November 2001, and it was the first ever Pro DSLR body produced by Canon, and that's a digital body. And that was the startup of the 1D series, which obviously went all the way through from the 1D Mark 1, which is what we're going to do today, all the way up to the 1DX Mark 3, and then that ended the line of 1D DSLRs. We're going to go through it today. I've managed to get hold of one. They're very difficult to get hold of, and the ones that you do get hold of are really bashed up, really sort of scatty. They don't work, and they're in a right state. But I managed to track one down from United States through MPB Photographic. A really good condition one at a very good price. In fact, I've since seen them back on there in similar condition for double the price that I paid for it. So really pleased. So today we're going to go through the Canon 1D Mark 1. So guys, here it is, the Canon 1D Mark 1. Quite a hefty old beast, but not as bad as some of the 1D bodies, which were considerably heavier. This is a lovely camera. As I say, it's the first 1D body introduced around November 2001. This is a beautiful condition example. Literally is absolutely pristine. I'm really hard to find any marks on this whatsoever, and you'll see in the images there of this camera and its condition. So this camera was kind of designed really for sports users, for press photographers, even for studio, and I'm guessing wildlife photographers as well. Built and designed for its speed. This camera has 45 AF points, which is considerable. I did a review on the D30 above, and the AF areas on that were severely limited. But this 45 points, which is a game changer really. And this camera can do 8 frames a second, do 21 large JPEG without buffer lockout, and it can do 16 raw images before buffer lockout. Pretty good. It's got a single CF card at the back, one slot only, and I've got at the moment, I've got a 512 megabyte card in there, and it only gives me about 75 shots. But you can put slightly higher rated cards in there, and you'll see that in the description below. I think we can go up to about 1 gigabyte. I've got a 2 gigabyte card that I put in, but it's not reading the correct amount of pics able to be taken with the camera. I put a 2 gig card in there. It's coming up with it can only take 58 images. So as I said, it was designed for sports, news, press, and wildlife photography, and it sports a 4 million pixel sensor, which is quite considerable considering 2001. As I said, going from the film to this, it feels amazing in the hand, and it shoots, as I say, JPEG and RAW, selectable JPEGs for their fineness. It takes EF lenses as well, so no EFS lenses on this camera, EF lenses only. I said you've got that 1.3 crop magnification there, so effectively if you put a 50mm lens on there, you'll get 65mm reach effectively because of that increased crop magnification. Its ISO range, guys, is from as low as 100 up to 3200. Its standard select modes is 200 to 1600, but then you can go lower and you can go upper on the upper range. So 3200 ISO range, going from film to that, is actually pretty damn good. And I've actually yet to shoot with this in the field yet, so I'm literally absolutely dying to get out there with it. I've got 2 batteries with it that came with it, and I've got one in the camera at the moment, which has been charged, and I've got one on charge at the moment. So as I said to you guys, it can do 8 frames a second, which is great, and that's selectable to the high frame rate. You can also lower that down to 3 frames a second, so you're not shooting too fast. Generally, as a wildlife photographer, I have it as fast as I can, just in case I need it in a pinch. And as I said, you've got the burst rates there. You've got 21 large JPEGs before buffer lockout, and you've got the 16 raw. It's got a little TFT screen on the back, very small, colour screen, and you'll see in some of the pictures, and that's 2-inch, and that's 120,000 dots. So not the most amazing. You've got a selectable brightness there as well. I've got it on max, but it is still quite hard to see. You just got to play around with it, and in harsh light, it's going to be quite difficult. So guys, the standard there on the side, you've got your flash, you've got your remote control, and you've got your digital connector there. It's also IEEE 1394 Firewire as well on there. These are just, you've got little rubber grommets there, guys, and these are all still intact. Just undo those, put that down, and that's how you then connect the camera. And it comes with, obviously, the raw software. So the price retailed for this when it was introduced was about $6,000. And when you compare like the 1DX, I think 1DX3 was about sort of under $7,000. And in UK pounds, this would be about £4,500 back then in 2001. And this is just an absolute gem. I mean, this sample of this is just in mint condition. It really is. Absolutely over the moon with it. And as I said, I bought it from MPB, and I've got the charger for 2 batteries, and that was pretty much it. I really, because I collect the cameras, I really wanted to have it with the box. And I've managed to locate a box in Texas in the US with all the dividers and bits with it. And I've bought that empty box for a very, very cheap price. So now this is going to have a home in its box, and I'll be able to put it on my shelf with the rest of the collection. So I've got the complete collection now, guys, from the 1D Mark 1 all the way up to the 1DX Mark 3. So that's every single 1D Pro body. And I've done many reviews before, and I did it up to the 1DX, and I stopped there. Some people say, well, that's not really a retro camera, but I suppose technically it is a retro camera. It's no longer produced. I didn't go any further than the 1DX to the 2 or the 3, because the 3 is still current and the 2 is still a very popular camera, and it's not, in my mind, a retro camera just yet. So I've decided then to go back to do the 1D Mark 1 and the 1DS Mark 1, and then I'm going to go further on all the way up to the 1D Mark 3. And the 1D Mark 3 was the one I started at. So I'm going to do all the ones up to the 1D Mark 3. So guys, battery wise with these are absolutely massive, these batteries. With the additional weight there, I think these are about 330 grams. So the actual weight of the camera itself is 1,250 grams, but you add the battery onto there, it goes up to 1,585, so 1,585 grams with the battery. You've got a little safety clip there, so you undo it, press the button, and out it comes. And this is an MPE3, and this is a nickel metal hydride battery, hence why they're so big. It's not like the new ones we have now. But I've got some cameras slightly newer than this one. So the 1D Mark II, 1D Mark IIN, etc. And I've got some Canon batteries, but they haven't got an awful lot of life in. You can buy these aftermarket batteries on Amazon very, very cheap. This is a DTSE or DSTE battery, and you can pick them up quite cheaply. But they are quite heavy. And that's obviously a lot of things with people why they get rid of the cameras is they no longer do batteries, etc. And they're good batteries. They don't cost the earth. I'll put a link in the vlog description to the batteries. But pop that back in there. And it's got inside its internal backup battery. It's got a CR2025, which is a lithium battery, and that lives on the inside of there, and that just retains information on settings, clock, etc. But as it stands, it's a 1D body. It feels in my hand, if I was holding this now and you suddenly gave me a 1DX and I held onto it, I'd unlikely know the difference unless I went to the top. It feels like a 1D. The ergonomics, the design of it is absolutely fantastic. As I said, very small screen on the back, and the functionality of the buttons, as you'll see in the pictures there, as you're scrolling through, it's very, very hands-on with buttons. There's no touchscreen. There's no video. You have to menu select. It's quite limited. You can press the select button, scroll up and down, and then you select from there. There's lots of custom functions with it. Lots and lots of things on the menu system as you'd expect from a 1D body. As being a Pro body, it has got that functionality. It has that customization, although limited customization on an old camera like this. But my God, technology, you know, going from film, like from the D30, D60, and this is the first Pro body at 8 frames a second, 4 million pixels, fully weather sealed. What an absolute game changer. And I'm really excited to shoot with this, guys. A lot of people wonder why I bother with these retro reviews, but there's obviously other people out there like me that like collecting cameras, like shooting with old kit. And let's face it, if you can shoot with this and get good results in 2025, then you can shoot with anything. These did a great job back in the day. Massive limitations, guys. Huge limitations for lots of things, but that's going to happen. It's a camera that's 24 years old. It's not going to shoot well in low light. It's a CCD sensor. It's not going to be as good as a full frame sensor. But I quite like CCD sensors. They're almost kind of like grainy and a lot of fun. And the color rendition for Canon is amazing. And those CCD sensors are so depth of color is beautiful. And I'm really looking forward to shooting with this. I'm going to use it with varying lenses, probably some, maybe even the prime lens. I'm going to go out, shoot from the hip for a week in my local area. I'm going to cover ponds, going to go into the meadow, maybe do some garden birds, see how we get on. And I'm really looking forward to putting it through its paces. But I think I've said enough there, guys. Hopefully you'll all stick around for the rest of the review. Going to go into the field, as I said. Going to go and shoot with it. Me out in the field, come back, and then we're going to download the images, put them on the computer, going to put some raw files up, and then I'm going to do some editing as well, and then I'm going to talk about my final conclusions of this old dinosaur of a camera, the Canon 1D Mark I. So stay tuned, guys, for In the Field. So guys, welcome back for the retro review in the field of the Canon 1D Mark I, the original, the first pro body ever produced digitally for Canon. And we've got a pretty warm day today. It's kind of 30 degrees. It's about 8:45 in the morning. It's quite bright with overcast elements. So today, photographically, it's going to be a challenge for the 1D. Yes, the light is good, so I'm not shooting at high ISO. But with these sort of conditions, things tend to be a bit washed out. We're going to head towards some ponds just nearby and hopefully photograph some of the species around the ponds, maybe some waterfowl, maybe some herons. There's some lovely tree swallows there as well, which we'll hopefully get some static shots of. I've got the Canon 100-400 Mark II mounted on the 1D at the moment, and I've got a 500 F4 Mark II in the back with a couple tellies chucked in just in case. And we're just going to have a bit of fun, really. I've just photographed a few flowers on the way in. Having a look at the screen in this light, as I've already said, is quite difficult. So really the screen is kind of null and void when you're out, apart from checking histogram to make sure that you've got no clipping and you've got a nice even spread. But as far as that goes, the surprise is when you come and download, I think. But there's a lot of birds around. We're in June. Still a good time. Birds are breeding on territory. So I can see a lot fluttering around. So we're going to put the camera through some paces today for 2, 3, 4 hours, who knows longer, and see what this bad boy can do. Hopefully get some great images and show what a 24-year-old camera can still produce in 2025. Right, on we go. Just in here, beautiful. There's a couple cormorants on the water, a few red-winged blackbirds around, that one just here, just chirping away on this tree. So I can't do any video, guys, because obviously it hasn't got any video. See if we can get a quick shot of this. So I just had a quick recce around the ponds, have a look, see what's about. I want to get away from this harsh light, so I'm going to tuck myself around the corner, get set up with a bigger lens, and hopefully then we can just wade out for some species to start to relax. Walking around at the moment, some things are quite happy, some things are flushing naturally, so I just need to sit, relax, get in situ. It's very busy with red-winged blackbirds. Got to be a little bit careful with those because I've yet to experience it, but around the nest they can attack you actually and pets and things. So you've got to be a little bit careful. And there's a lot here on territory, probably in excess of a dozen pairs maybe. Be interesting today with the light. A very black bird with that orange and yellow wing. And we've also got some tree swallow boxes up here. And they usually perch nearby, so it'd be nice to get some static shots of those, just see if we can bring out some detail and put that 4 million pixel sensor through the test. I see them flying around here actually, just over the ponds here. There's, as I say, quite a lot of cormorants on the water. So I'm just going to chill out here, I think, for a bit. It's one of those situations you just want to see what turns up, get in situ, get relaxed, and hopefully we'll get rewarded with some species and see what this camera can do. Tell you what though guys, it's alive with birds in here. Just had some, typically I've just set up near some old dead reeds here, hoping that the red-winged blackbirds are going to land, and one has just landed, if you can hear it there. Not that one. Just there. If I have to spend my entire morning with red-winged blackbirds, so be it. We've got quite a bit of wind here as well today, so there's going to be a bit of movement there. But it might allow for a bit of creativity as well. The sun's out to my side there. So I'm kind of out of the way of that, and it's not the total harsh light yet. So we'll suck it and see for a bit. I'm going to stick with the straight 500 without the telly, just to start off with, just so we've got to try it without any additional softness there with using the telly, just to see how we get on. And if we're happy and I need more reach, I can always stick it on. Right, let's get this bad boy mounted and let's get some shots. So guys, remembering that with the Canon 1D, we've got no auto ISO. We've got no easy way of doing exposure compensation. There is a way you can play around with it to allow that. So at the moment, I'm having to adjust my ISO accordingly. When the sun comes out, I have to change it. When the sun goes in, I have to change it. And I'm shooting at the moment ever so slightly overexposed. If I'm shooting correct exposure, as the camera metering says, I end up getting quite a dark picture. So I have to boost it up a little bit, but I've got to play it by ear. Obviously it's a camera I've never actually owned. So it's a bit of a new one for me. It's all a bit of a test, trial and error. Do a few test shots. We've got a lovely little bit of grass here in front. In fact, let's mask that one. Let's try there. Okay, beautiful. So the focus system is really good actually. And I've gone into the custom functions. As I said, it's got personal functions and custom functions, and I've enabled a lock button, the star button, as my back button focus. So back button, metering, shot. Makes it a lot easier for me then. So even then, you could customize the camera for back button focus, which is what I generally use all the time. Right, let's sit and chill out. We've got a couple yellow warblers, or a yellow type of warbler, and we just had a beautiful male Baltimore Oriole just fly over. So it's a really good place to be. Let's just sit, absorb what's around us, get into the environment, and then hopefully we'll get some shots. The pressure is on to deliver. I've got no old images from this camera that I've taken because I've never owned it. So I think the first camera I had was the 1D Mark II. So yeah, that was my first entry into the 1D Pro bodies. Right, now going to chill out, get back to it, see if we can get some pictures. So guys, we got a ton of birds here and loads and loads of yellow warblers, and I just wanted to show you these. Now in Canada, they're extremely good at putting up tree swallow boxes. If you just look here, in fact, they've just gone in. There is a tree swallow box and they've just exchanged. There you go. Amazing. Off it goes. So there's a tree swallow box. Awesome. I just need to find out where they perch now, and then I can get some nice shots hopefully. I tell you what, the guys, the focus on the 1D is really, really good. So I'm using center spot at the moment, and you've got the whole surround, and you've got a button. You can select middle points, double cluster. So you've got to make use of that 45-point AF system, which is really good. You know, yes, it's not like what we've got these days, but for the time, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it really is. I mean, likely it is today, is I'm probably going to get some amazing bird come in. I wish I had my R3, R7, 1DX or something with me, but it's nice to put, you know, the pressure off And if I do get a bird in or an animal in, that I have to make use of this camera fully so I can get a decent image. You know, at 4 million pixels as well. For Instagram, for socials, it would be ideal, absolutely ideal. But it's nice mounted on this tripod now with the 500. I'm really making use of that. I'm shooting at shutter speeds of about 1/2000th of a second down to 12/50th of a second, usually about f/6.3, so I've got no teleconverter on, f4 the lenses, so I'm using that a little bit to see if I can find the sweet spot, which is about 6.3, 5.6, 6.3 with this lens. And bear in mind guys, this is a 1.3 crop sensor body. So you've got that 1.3 times magnification of the end focal length. So 1.3 times 500 then gives you your new focal length. So I have got that little bit of a tighter shot. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this, just sitting here chilling. There's lots going on. I've got yellow warblers, red-winged blackbirds. I've got cormorants. There's a lot of warbler species flying around. In fact, what is that? That looks like a northern flicker. Yeah, northern flicker's just landed over there. Now it's miles away. The focus is so good on here. It's just landed in a tree over there. That could be a nest. If you just sit still long enough, guys, you know, sometimes the birds will relax. I'm not cammed up here today. There's no need for it. Plus it's absolutely boiling, 30 degrees, but the wind is quite nice because it's keeping the bug situation down. Yeah, loving it. Absolutely loving it. 1D beast. What a camera. He says when he hasn't even checked the images yet. Right, we've got a lot of cormorant action here. And I'm not even going to try to go for tree swallows over the water. There is no point. It's just too much of an impossibility really to get anything decent there. Flight shots, I mean, I can't even, you know, you can't even get a really half decent one with the R3. Not for want of trying, but I mean, if I nailed it and if I spent time with them all morning, I'd probably get some great shots. But now we've got a lovely shot here of a gap just over there of the cormorant, just between a gap in the, and it's, oh, battery just failed. Yikes, I've got another battery. So this is the original Canon battery in here at the moment. So I don't know if you heard that then, shutter went and it just locked off. So that picture's, yeah, battery's gone. So that's the original, but I've got a spare in the bag. So let's just get that out. So guys, I've set up here just next to the swallow box and I've pre-focused on the hole, pushed the camera slightly to the right and hoping to get a flight shot of the tree swallow coming in. I've had to bump the ISO up to 1600 now, bearing in mind that that's the top end, unless you select high, which then doubles that to 3200, and I'm shooting about 2,500th of a second at f4. So I'm wide open, hoping to maybe get a flight shot of a tree swallow coming in. Now, it's probably not going to be amazing, but we're going to give it a go. Not sure what the image is going to be like at 1600 ISO, but we're certainly going to give it a go. And hopefully, if I do get a decent image, you'll see it in a minute. If not, I didn't achieve it. But I mean, if I stayed it all day, I probably would be able to get a half decent image. And I think at the moment these guys are feeding young because both parents are out. They're in and out, in and out. And I think they must be very, very small. So yeah, we'll just have to bide our time. There's not a lot of room, flight path in. They kind of come in, take a bit of a dip and then go straight into the box. So I'm hoping at the moment, this is my setup here, just pre-focused. There's the box, rapid shutter, secured the tripod so it's not going to go anywhere, and I've got back button, just activate the shutter and hopefully we'll get lucky. It's a waiting game, guys. It is so hot. Whew. This is kind of fun though. You come out, you got no major idea about what you're going to photograph. You just want to see what's about. Hope that, you know, for some good images, hope to get some good views of some decent birds. I mean, there's lots here, but the light's against me a little. Oh, listen to that shutter, guys. That's amazing. Oh, I've only got 400 pictures on this card, so I'm not sure if I got any then. but you never know. It's just changed. So I'm shooting slightly underexposed at the moment. Gonna have to, right. Might get lucky. Did you hear that shutter go though? Come on. That's beautiful. I'm not actually that loud. Being a crop sensor as well. Obviously the mirror, an action of the mirror is not slapping around as much as it would be on a full frame. So actually quite quiet. They weren't bothered about it at all. Just had a cedar waxwing arrive above my head. Oh, amazing. So the cedar here, not Bohemian, because Bohemian are usually way out west and places like Alaska. Oh, it was fantastic to see, right? I can see one coming back. They're not bothered by me at all here, guys. So this is quite nice. And it's nice because I can shoot, as I said before, shooting RAW, which I am at the moment. I can get 16 images before buffer lockout. And with JPEG large, I can get up to 21. So it's pretty good, really. So guys, the attempt at a tree swallow flying shot into the box failed miserably. I did try. The camera was quick enough. The exposure was all over the place. I had the exposure right, but as soon as the wings came in with the white on the wings, completely blew it out. And I needed depth of field really of at least f8, but I was pushing the ISO well beyond. I had to put the ISO to 3200 and I couldn't go beyond that to retain that depth of field, so there's that margin for error. At f4, you're wide open. You want f8 with a good depth of field there that you can get that bird if it's slightly off where the sweet spot was for focus. I wasn't able to achieve that, sadly. So I think I'll scrub around that and just concentrate on some of the more static birds and birds in the water. We've got the cormorant here doing a bit of wing stretching and stuff. Just simplicity, really, just going for simple shots, trying things a little bit too much there with the R3, R7 or whatever else I was using, a more current camera. Be absolutely all over that. But yeah, just a little bit too, but there's a limitation there. Needed f8, needed above 2,500 per second, couldn't achieve it in the light of the day like this because the ISO range is at the ceiling. So, you know, there's not much I can do about that, and that shows the limitation. Ooh, here's the shot I want, here's the shot I want, here's the shot I want. So guys, what I really wanted then was the red-winged blackbird on the grasses over there, just off the side of the ponds. I just got it. But you realise when you're there, heat at the moment, that you really have to play around with the settings a lot more, aperture, shutter, ISO. You kind of try to find a middle ground, and then you're shooting from that side with shade, shooting that side to light, and then you've really got to, you find yourself, you're like 2 stops over or you're 1 stop under, and it's a blurry mess. So you've really got to be quick, and it's not because I can't know what I'm doing, it's because I'm not used to it. With that auto ISO function, you get your settings right, and then you literally, the auto ISO takes care of everything, especially when the light's decent, when you're confident in the ISO capabilities of your camera. So I just got some shots off there, probably about half a dozen, maybe a dozen shots, hoping that one of those is half decent. And that's where I've really wanted this red-winged blackbird to land. Nice with that effect of the dead grass there. Hopefully I maybe have pulled a picture out of the bag there. Who knows? But this is a bit of fun. I'm not going to spend weeks and weeks with the review of the camera, really. It's just get out, shoot with it, see how I see it, play with it, love it. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's lovely to go back in time and use a camera that's this old. Yeah, retro reviews, I love them. So guys, it's been a real fun morning so far. Haven't had any amazing shots, but let's face it, we can be out for a week and still achieve not a lot. So it's one of those things, but it's just good to go out and shoot with the camera, put it through its paces, have a little look at what it can do. You're not going to get all scenarios. We're not going to do fast action today, birds in flight and all that sort of stuff. It's really a bit of fun. Get out, have a shoot with it, see what it can deliver. I mean, you probably would never go out and buy this camera, guys. As a daily shooting camera, of course you wouldn't. But if you want a bit of fun, you want to learn a craft, you don't want to spend a fortune, get a little nifty 50 lens, a 1.8, stick on the front of that, go and do some street photography, go and do some close-ups. It'll do the job for socials, you know, it really will. And it's a great camera, as I say, weatherproofed, 8 frames a second, 4 megapixel, CCD sensor. It's a great little camera and it's a lot of fun. I've gone through one battery already, the original Canon battery, which I didn't think was going to last. I've put on a second battery, which I charged yesterday, and that is down on 1 bar already. So I've probably got a limited amount of shooting left. So I've switched the camera off now, just until a situation pops up in front of me, switch it back on and get a few more shots. But all in all, a great day, but we've got another hour or so to push and hopefully we'll get some more shots in the bag. So guys, when you're walking around your local reserve, patch, woodland, whatever, it's great just to kind of try to find a unique view, aspect, situation, glancing a bird in the reeds through a small gap, slightly diffused, you know, get low, get high, just something a little bit different, picking out some shots as you move around. It's nice to be static, wait for stuff, but it's also good to get on the move. At the moment, I'm moving around into the light a little bit. I want to come around behind and hopefully change the angle, see if anything else is moving around. What I'd really like today is a nice heron. A nice heron static fishing would be awesome. Bit of hit and miss with herons. They're either quite habituated or they're very skittish, as we find at home with the grey heron. Here, the great blue heron, the more common species, is the one that we're kind of looking for. Beautiful coloration, especially in the breeding plumage, which would be lovely on the ponds here today. But on we go. Let's see if we can find that heron. So guys, just moved locations to the edge of this forest here, and there's loads and loads of yellow warblers, American redstarts. There's a couple of red squirrels in here, loads of other smaller bird species as well. And I'm hoping maybe we can get some come out on the periphery of the trees here to get some shots. The sun's out to my right. It's getting real warm now. It did say up to 30 degrees today, but I think we're there already. It's absolutely blistering hot. I mean, for the pictures, yeah, it's kind of going to be difficult shooting in this sort of time of the day, but it is what it is. It's good fun. I'm out in nature. If I don't get any pictures, it doesn't really matter. But I'm hoping here, a bit shady, less harsh. So I might get some birds coming in just in the shady area. There's a lot of insects flying around, and we might get lucky with a few more bird species there. The battery seems to have gone back to full power now, remarkably, misreporting it because it's a aftermarket battery maybe. And I'm hoping maybe we get some shots in here, probably push on for another hour and then I'll head back. And I've been shooting with this camera so far a few times this week. Every time I go out, oh, there's a beautiful butterfly there. That would be a good subject today. There's the squirrel. So I have taken other pictures, which I will show at the end of the video, so not all shot from today. But I'm going to get back, listen to these warblers. I can hear that redstart in there. It'd be lovely to hear that male come out, start singing on the edge of this woodland here. But yeah, right, back to it. So patience does sometimes get rewarded. Just sitting here patiently for about 40 minutes now. And the birds are all around, but they're not revealing themselves. And I've just seen a red-eyed vireo come out. Really pretty bird. Quite a bit of yellow on it, actually. It's just been fluttering around like a flycatcher. And there's also American redstart in there, which is really nice. So that's the male bird, with black, with that beautiful bright color on the wings. Just nice. It's very difficult to get a shot. I'm at fair distance. But one thing I'm really pleased with is the single spot focus on the 1D with that 45-point AF system on there is great. You know, it's really picking it out. It's not labored. Whether if I put the telly on, it's probably going to get a little bit slower, probably. older cameras with teleconverters used to perform quite a bit slower on the AF performance when you stick a telly on. But these days with cameras, modern cameras, it doesn't really make a great deal of difference, to be fair, unless you put on a 2x. Maybe you can see a slight drop off there, but I'm just sticking without, to be honest. If I get environment shots, that's better. It's good light. I'm shooting kind of like 1/800th of a second at f5.6, so I've just gone a stop above, and it's just gone back in cover now. But there's probably about 4 different species of birds in here at the moment, and it's nice and shaded. The sun's out to my right, and the battery's still holding on. So if the battery's holding on, I'm going to hold on a little longer. And then as soon as it starts to die, then I will pack up and go. I've been going for about 3 hours, I suppose. And yeah, guys, no amazing shots as yet. Just got a ring-billed gull just gone over, and I just saw the heron a moment ago just go around the back. But that heron's eyeballed me and it's not going to come in. So, yeah, back to these. Another thing, guys, I'm finding about the battery drain is that the camera can do 1300 shots on a decent battery. This aftermarket one I've got in came with the camera, which may be really old. I have got some new batteries. Probably should have bought one with me today, but at the end of the day, when the battery goes, I'll decide to back up and go. But what I am relying on a little bit more is using the histogram and using the LCD screen at the back. Now that's a huge drain on the battery system here. If I keep checking the screen at the back, scrolling through images, it's really going to drain it. And that's where it's really going to hit me. The screen, as I said, isn't great, but at least you can kind of gauge where you are. And that histogram gives you that idea that you're not under and overexposing images massively, and you're getting that kind of pyramid in the middle. It is what it is. It's fun. And I just looked at an image there, and I think it looks good on the screen. But whether it's soft as hell, I don't know. I certainly got the focus point on the bird, and I certainly got the image, and the shutter speed was fast enough for what the bird was doing. So only time will tell when I get back on the computer. If I walk away today with just a handful of shots that are half decent, then I'm happy. If I were to use this camera day in, day out, if I was in a hide and I was watching over a water, or for mammal species, for deer and things like that, I'm sure I'd get a lot better shots. But it's one of those, it's just get out, use the camera, see what you think, and put the images there and see where we are. But yeah, I'm pleased with that red-eye Vireo shot for sure. And I think there's a couple red-winged blackbirds in the bag as well. So hey, can't be that choosy. With a 24-year-old camera, I've certainly enjoyed myself today, albeit very, very hot. Kind of melting here, guys. So if you see sweat patches, apologies. It's kind of like 30 degrees now. Yeah, it is pretty damn hot. If I see what's that, a ring-billed gull coming, I think. But be careful, because you do get ospreys coming in here over the water. It's definitely not one of those. So guys, I think I'm going to call it a day there for the retro review for the classic 1D Mark I. It's been a great morning in quite testing conditions. The light's been real harsh, been lots of wind, so bumping the shutter speeds up. But all in all, it was lots of fun. I think I've taken some half decent images on the back of the camera there on that tiny little 2-inch screen. Who knows? We'll have to see when we get back home on the computer. But thoroughly enjoyed it. The red-eyed vireos were great, seeing the red-winged blackbirds. I just missed a prime shot of a Baltimore Oriole male sitting on top of a tree on the way back. Had a bit of a flap with me, my tripod leg. It wouldn't go out. Got into position, fumbled a bit, got it up, and it flew. So yeah, that was a bit of a pain. But I tell you what, for a camera that's 24 years old, I'm so impressed with the AF on this camera. Not so much birds in flight, but initial tracking. There's no fuss to it. Single spot, straight there, no hunting. No hunting around, trying to isolate a single bird on a branch with stuff behind it. It's been locking on that bird every time. Absolutely fantastic. That 45-point AF system on this camera is absolutely fantastic, and that's why they continued it so long until they hit the 65, etc, etc. But I'm thoroughly impressed with this little dinosaur here, and I'm really pleased I got it out and used it today. When we get back to the office, I'll download the images and I'll quickly wrap up what I think, show you some images I've taken on the day. So guys, we'll see you back in the office. So guys, back in office now after being out all morning in that 30-degree heat. Absolutely red hot today. Got back, sorted my gear out and downloaded the images into Lightroom. Had a quick look, unbelievably, and I checked the sensor before. There was massive hair on the left side of the images. Thankfully it wasn't center, it was offset. I must have worked into the camera when I was firing away on the shutter. Obviously this camera may not have been used for quite some time, sat in a cupboard, a drawer, anywhere. And as I was firing away, it probably worked across the sensor and dropped on it. So I managed to blow it out, checked it, now it's completely clear. Sensor is free from any marks or debris in there. I'll edit them out in the images, but thankfully they were, I say, to the left-hand side of the screen. Had a look at the images. Yeah, some okay ones. You'll see them at the end of the video. I've taken obviously a few others over the week, so hopefully I'll include those too. But all in all, really, really pleased for a 2001 4 megapixel, first ever 1D Pro Body digital by Canon. I mean, it delivered really, really well. There were limitations there, guys, as we talked about in the field. The ISO performance, I found that a bit of a sticky point when I wanted to shoot at f8, getting that depth of field when I was getting the tree swallows coming in. I couldn't go any but higher than 3,200, which was a bit of a pain. It forced me then to get the shutter speed and then to shoot at f4 wide open, and then the room for error there as the bird was coming in. If it was a little bit too close or a bit too far away, it would be blurred. I needed that increased depth of field there just to retain some sharp focus, so that was an issue. The battery obviously did have a few little moments. The original battery let me down. The second battery I put in seemed to do a pretty good job, but I don't think it's got an awful lot of life left. But I've got a few brand new batteries to use at a later date. But all in all, guys, you know, I'm really pleased. You know, a 4 megapixel CCD sensor in this camera for 2001. I thought it did a pretty damn fine job. Yes, it didn't go through the rigors of what I would do daily. Would I use it daily? Never. No, of course I wouldn't. But it's a retro review. It's a lot of fun. And if you're getting into photography and you can pick one of these up for £200, less than $200, and you're getting into photography, you want a bit of a retro, you want a bit of a funky look, you know, it's a bit of a brick, it'll keep on going. You want to shoot and then put them on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever social media you have, then it's going to do the job. You know, it has limitations massively. You know, the AF didn't do much birds in flight today, but I know it's not going to be a top performer, but it will track. And the AF for me in this was probably the biggest plus point of the day. The AF was brilliant. That single spot focus for small birds, it locked on, it didn't train around the back. There was a bird on a post, literally just behind it, there's lots of clutter, the same sort of size as the bird, and it didn't skip a beat. It locked straight on. I was really, really pleased with that. And I did do a few birds in flight, just a bit of tracking, and it was doing a great job when as long as I kept a single spot on the subject, as much as good it is for me to track, I did open that up for a few more focus points, and it did lock on. It wasn't as snappy as an R3, but it was pretty damn good for 24 years old. So all in all, yeah, it was a fantastic morning out with this camera, and I hope you guys really, really enjoyed it. And I hope you have a look at the images and you think they're kind of half decent for a camera of that age, and also the fact that I was only shooting for a morning session, and there's a few other sort of landscapey shots as well there that I shot whilst out with the dogs and things like that. But that's another retro review finish for me from this one. Next one is the Canon 1DS, which is the first full frame digital pro body by Canon, and then we bump up the megapixel count then to 8 million, so double what this camera can do. It's not going to be as fast action as the 1D at 8 frames a second. I think it's a lot less than that. I think it's like 3 or 4 off the top of my head. But all in all, I really, really did enjoy being out with this camera, and it just reminds me back in the day how much more difficult it was and how much more you have to think about when you're out in the field. You're having to adjust constant shutter, aperture, ISO, compensation as well. You're having to look and think ahead. You're going to have to do more test shots. I relied on the histogram at the back a lot more, and I looked at the screen a lot more just to gauge the images. I couldn't really zoom in and have a look at anything very close, because it's a 120,000 dot screen. It's tiny, it's not very bright, so it has limitations there. It's kind of fingers crossed stuff. When you get home, you put them on the computer and hoping they are half decent. But if you've got any comments for me, please leave them in the vlog description below, guys. And if you owned this camera, if you loved it, you hated it, you want to think about buying one, you've seen one, you were wondering if it's any good. To me, if you want to get into wildlife photography, don't go and buy this camera, because it's not going to do the job for you, really. Certainly it's going to be a lot harder. But if you want a camera that's retro-y, you want to go out there and just shoot randomly for social media, if you're into different genres, portrait, landscape, whatever, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great camera. I was out there today and someone saw me and said, "God, that looks like an expensive camera." Again, and I was like, it's 24 years old. It's the first pro body camera, digital, that Canon ever produced. And they were like, blimey, it looks amazing. And it does. And it's a great camera. And I'm glad I dusted it off, gave it a clean, sorted it out, took it out into the field and gave it a good old blast. It's now going to live in the cabinet over there, and I will take it out now and then. Probably just shoot from the hip with a smaller lens and just see what I can get. But thanks very much indeed, guys, again, for following along on one of my retro reviews. If you want to watch any more of my retro reviews, you can see on my front page there is a section below on retro reviews, and you'll see the varying cameras there that I've taken out into the field, similarly to what I've done here and tested them in the field. But as always, guys, thanks very much indeed for watching, and I'll see you all next time.